Hello, everybody. It's Leo once again. Today we are going to talk about what is on everyone's radar. I felt underwhelming doing this because I think I have stuff to add to this which is unique. But its topic's getting beat to death. So let's just start with a primer here. Obviously, riots in Los Angeles about immigration of some kind. Let's watch our state media. Let's watch our American Pravda here. Find out what's going on.
Immigration raids have led to arrests in both Los Angeles and San Francisco. Cars were set on fire, flashbangs and tear gas were used to disperse crowds. Parts of a major freeway were shut down. This morning marks the fourth day of protests. You're seeing some of those self-driving cars on fire. Right now, all of downtown LA has been declared an unlawful assembly area. President Trump called up the National Guard to protect federal personnel and property. It's the first time a president has done this without a state's request or consent in about 60 years.
Are you prepared to invoke the Insurrection Act?
Depends on whether or not there's an insurrection. No, but you have violent people, and we're not going to let them get away with it. I think that you're going to see some very strong law and order.
500 active duty Marines are also prepared to deploy. The entire National Guard situation is setting up a showdown with California's governor. He claims the president is putting fuel on the fire. The mayor of Los Angeles accused the president of being heavy-handed.
When you raid Home Depot and workplaces, when you tear parents and children apart, and when you run armored caravans through our streets, you cause fear and you cause panic.
For every single minute that we were here resisting against the Border Patrol, that was time that they were not out deporting people in our community.
But President Trump is urging LA's police chief to bring in the troops right now. Police say at least 27 people were arrested Sunday, most of those on the 101 freeway that police shut down. They say protesters threw things onto the road and damaged police cars. Also overnight, a large crowd protested against ICE in San Francisco. About 60 people were arrested there. Joining me now, CNN's senior national security analyst.
Okay, we'll continue that shortly. What I can say is that what I suspected, probably starting in January, is now I will make the public prediction. Donald Trump will sweep the 2028 midterms. This is something that I don't think anyone saw coming, but this right here, these riots have guaranteed that President Trump, he might even pick up seats in the legislative. This is a total disaster. Now, what I find so fascinating about these riots in particular, besides the reactions to them, is their place in history. These riots are look, you have to accept this. Riots are not this spontaneous thing that just happened, okay? Not to get too tinfoil hat here, but riots come about at very convenient times throughout history, especially since the end of the Second World War. You may like the outcomes of riots, you may dislike them, but I think it is undeniable that riots are very coincidental in terms of when they happen. And to do this, to understand what I'm saying here, we're going to get into some historical examples after this. But let's continue here, because I think it's worth watching what our security analyst has to say about this. CNN, like all other state media that we have in this country, is lying to you. Listen, an aside, if you believe anything that CNN says, please stop doing this to your brain. Your brain does not appreciate it. They are lying to you. They are professional liars. They like lying to you. They make money off lying to you. But why do we watch it? Why do we watch CNN?
It's 90% bullshit, but it's entertaining.
It's not that entertaining, actually. We watch it because there is alpha in it. There is alpha if we read between the lines. And if I want you guys to take one thing away from this whole channel, whether it's in business, finance, news, culture, movies. Always be seeking alpha, like the website. Look for alpha. Look for something you can use to ameliorate your life, to propel your life forward, okay? Do not watch stuff passively. You need to become an expert because they are always telegraphing signals here. So let's see what American Pravda, CNN, has to say.
Juliet Kayyem. Juliet, I want to start with some of the history here because you've pointed out that usually a president can utilize the National Guard, for instance, when a governor requests those resources, when a governor says, look, I'm overwhelmed. I think back to the LA riots, also Hurricane Katrina. Based on what you've observed, is that where we were?
Yes, I mean this is a big distinction of what Donald Trump did. There's a series of cases coming out of desegregation when a governor defied a Supreme Court order and the president federalized the National Guard to get children into the school. So that's a pool of those cases. More recently, in instances where a governor has requested additional federal support in the form of federalized National Guard assets or troops, that has always been with the cooperation of the governor and the federal government. So Hurricane Katrina, you exactly noted, and the LA riots in the past, a Republican governor.
Now, what do we have to take away from here? What is the alpha? The alpha I'm telling you to look for. These people are BSing you. The Donald Trump administration of this period has shown us that law is to be interpreted by one man. The unitary executive theory has come about. That is just the case. You may like it, you may dislike it. Arguing about legalities and semantics, which is what they're doing, is why they are going to lose. It is why Trump has won so much here. Because you have a city in flames that was just in flames months ago because of some fires, and people are begging for a reaction, and they are getting one. And all you can focus on is legalese. If that's what you want, you probably went to college. I went to college, okay? I'm not stupid. Well, I'm stupid for going to college, but I didn't get stupid from leaving college, okay? I didn't become one of these midwits that thinks they know everything, okay? What I found out is that there is what exists and there is what does not exist. Law no longer exists in the way it did during Hurricane Katrina or during the '92 LA riots. Law is completely different now. Donald Trump has changed that. Donald Trump has changed that entirely. And if you are arguing these legal semantics, these he didn't do it the right way. You are losing. You have lost the conversation. The conversation is over. You look like a fool. You look like a fool because that's what you are. You are a fool. And this is something that only works on people who are slaves.
This is exactly what I'm talking about, the slave mentality, the slave mind.
Only slaves that went to college and believe in this system would fall for this crap. And that's why Donald Trump is winning. Because Donald Trump is someone who is not appealing to this class, which has a lot of influence, but I'd say is probably between 10 and 25% of this country at the high level, most likely. I'm not even sure if that's likely. How many people do you know that went to college and became retarded and still believe in law and order in the way that it was 10 years ago? People that can't accept the new reality. People who have not accepted the postmodern, Baudrillardian, Donald Rumsfeld reality. If you guys look, this is the world you live in. I will show you a video that will explain it to you. Classic from the Bush administration. A classic. Technical difficulties here. Let's find it. Let's find it. Well, we're struggling here. I'll look for it while we keep watching this Pravda here. But this is something you must accept in order to survive in this postmodern world. If not, you're going to be left behind. Reality is not what you think it is. Let's keep going.
And a Democratic mayor of Los Angeles both requested this from the president, and they were deployed. I want to say something clear, though. Simply because they're deployed doesn't mean it's been successful. I am in this field. The LA riots deployment of federalized National Guard was considered chaotic and not very successful.
Can you get into that more? We have heard this argument that it can, in some cases, actually we've heard from the governor, I think, can inflame or kind of further fuel backlash. What are you seeing?
Yeah, so this is it's hard to determine what the White House is doing right now. The president and his team came on very strong on Saturday, using words like insurrection. I think getting people really hyped up about what was going to be happening. Then there was...
Right, and that's a great transition. This is what I meant to pull up. It's not Rumsfeld. It's Karl Rove. And this is what Donald Trump has accepted and what you need to accept in order to survive in our modern times. If you don't remember, Karl Rove was a higher up in the Bush administration who faced a lot of pushback because of his role in the war. Let's see here.
We're an empire now, and when we act, we create our own reality. And while you're studying that reality, judiciously as you will, we'll act again, creating other new realities, which you can study too, and that's how things will sort out. We're history's actors, and you, all of you, will be left to just study what we do. Karl Rove.
Genius of Karl Rove. It was not true then. It was only true to an extent. But now it is true overall. This quote is the only way you can understand the moment you're living in. Everything that CNN is covering here, that American Pravda is covering here, is in a reality that no longer exists. There is no deputizing law enforcement. There is no gubernatorial authority over riots. Donald Trump has created a new reality. So listen to this to know that they're talking to a specific audience, which is marginal at this point, which has no electoral power at this point because the Democratic Party is over.
There's a delay, and now there's a couple hundred troops that are protecting federal buildings. That's an important mission. It could have been done with state National Guard. You didn't need to put them under the president or Secretary Hegseth. And the reason why you don't do that is because state National Guard work regularly with state police and local police for crowd control, games. The LA is going to be hosting the Olympics. Think of a marathon or a big event. This is happening all.
Yes, Audio Vibe says Gavin Newsom said Trump should come and arrest him. Because Gavin Newsom is a moron, and I wanted him to be president. But he's a moron. He does not know how to handle this reality he is now in. Very good observation. We're going to get into Gavin Newsom.
All the time. So there's training, there's understanding, there's what we call interoperability. The different teams can communicate with each other. When you bring a new entity in, there's no training, there's no cooperation, there's often chaos, and there's a higher probability of friendly fire. This is what happened in the LA riots, is that there was there were two instances in which there was almost friendly fire. So we do this to protect, or we don't do this in order to protect the troops and as well as the first responders.
Juliette Kayyem, CNN senior national security analyst, thank you. President Trump has deployed the National Guard to Los Angeles, and that's raised urgent questions about how far the White House will go to enforce its immigration crackdown and how far states can go in resisting. President Trump posted on Truth Social that, quote, order will be restored, the illegal...
Okay, we will go through these tweets ourselves. But as you can see, CNN is stupid. CNN is tricking you if you're watching this stuff. CNN is designed to rot your brain. If you have parents, if you have family members that are watching CNN, if you disagree with them on politics or agree with them, try to wean them off CNN. Try to wean them off Fox News. Try to wean them off all of this stuff because it is just going to hurt and scramble your brains. It is not good for you unless we are seeking alpha, which is what we are doing on this channel. So what did we learn? What's the alpha we learned from watching the CNN piece on this? The alpha we learned is that the Democratic Party is living as if laws still apply, as if Barack Obama is still president, as if international law is real. That is all fake. And that is why they cannot win and will not win the midterms, because these are people that cannot accept that things have changed, and they have changed permanently. And the unfortunate thing, or fortunate thing, depending on where you're coming from, is that if you accept this reality, you can use it to your advantage. But they haven't. So let's see the tweets here. I really want to get into these so we can see the reality that has been created for us. All right. Let's see the first one here. I think that this was very significant. So the menswear guy is a guy on Twitter who critiques people's dress, okay? I don't follow the guy. He's whatever, right? He made a tweet where he was explaining that he was brought over unlawfully, illegally to this country as a child. So he is an illegal immigrant, and that is the correct word to use. An illegal immigrant. Undocumented is a liberal fake word. Don't use that word. Use real words. We live in the real world. The menswear guy just openly admitted on here that he's here illegally. What happened after this tweet happened? The Department of Homeland Security, I'll show you here, official account, DHS, quote tweeted it with a GIF showing someone focusing in. What does that mean? What does that mean? It's what I'm telling you. It's a new reality. It would not pass under any other admin. This is something that is only happening now. And it's happening now because now there's someone in power who is wielding power in a somewhat impotent, but in some ways very effective way. And they can flaunt that power because why not, right? Let's see more tweets about it. This is this guy here, the menswear guy that I mentioned. He posted this. I think I can outrun you in these clothes. Mocking the president, J.D. Vance, the vice president. What did J.D. Vance do? He had actually tweeted the tweet of the GIF of Jack Nicholson nodding in reply here to a quote tweet here. J.D. Vance, I know you're reading this and you had the opportunity to do the funniest thing ever. Implying that they would arrest the menswear guy for being an illegal immigrant. No vice president, this is the official account, just so you see, in history, would ever do something like this. Whether you're happy or sad about it, that's just the truth. That is simply the truth. Cheney wouldn't do this. Biden definitely wouldn't do this. And look, I see people in the chat saying that this is funny. I'm not judging whether it's funny or not. I'm just trying to understand what's going on and why Trump is going to win the next election. Let's keep going. This was a notable thing that happened here. Let's watch the video. There was a man throwing rocks at federal agents. People have gotten really comfortable doing this. Back in my day, 10 years ago, it was a trope in movies when someone hit a postal delivery person, a USPS person, because that was a federal agent. And you don't hit a federal agent or you go to jail, but people are getting real comfortable with it. This goes to the tech side, so let's see what happened.
The cinder block case, Sean. Remember that case? We have breaking news right now. The case where the guy was breaking up the cinder blocks and he was throwing them at police cars. The federal officer had injured his hand. He was wearing a mask. The FBI has identified him. Bill Isaly, our incredible U.S. attorney out there working with ATF, DEA, and the FBI have been doing a remarkable job. That guy has just been identified, and they are doing a search warrant on his house as we speak. And he has been identified. See his face. He is going to be on, his name is Reyes. He is going to be on the most wanted list. You have broken the news. His face is out there right now. That's him. He has been identified by great police work by the FBI. So you can run. You can't hide. We are coming after you federally. If you assault a police officer, if you rob a store, if you loot, if you spit on a police officer, we're coming after you.
Okay, I want to be very clear.
Now, why is that important? Why is that such an important thing? Because look at how this man was found. This is what the information poster that the FBI put out. These are obscure pictures. And we have his face here. This is the video. I don't care what your stance is on the immigration thing. If you are stupid enough to throw rocks and possibly maim, injure, or kill a federal agent, you are a moron. You have no place in society. And why I say that isn't even so much an offense of, oh, you know, it's wrong. Sure, it's wrong, right? But what's bad about it is it shows that you're so stupid, that you're the dumbest person. You are.
Because I'm fucking stupid.
You are so stupid. Why would you assault federal property at minimum? This is not going to end well. Anyone who does this kind of thing, listen, advice for life. These are crazy people. Do not let these people in your social circles. These are unpredictable people. These are people that will ruin your life. Do not hang around with people who are dumb enough, stupid enough to throw rocks at feds. I don't know what has to be wrong with you to consider this a good idea. This is the dumbest thing you could do. There is no outcome where you are going to come out on top here. You think they're not going to find you? What century do you think this is? They found Bonnie and Clyde. That was 100 years ago. You're an idiot. You deserve to get caught. So, however, what is interesting is that they were able to catch him, which everyone knew. But now that we know the background here, which is that Trump is installing Palantir to make files on literally everyone in this country, taking the Patriot Act to levels never seen before, it is pretty scary. And this should dissuade any kind of action like this. I really struggle to understand the mentality that would allow you to do something this stupid, because it's stupid. And we see that when he was caught, the video we were watching.
Block case, Sean. Remember, we are coming after you federally. If you assault a police officer, if you rob a store, if you loot, if you spit on a police.
That is why Trump is going to win, because people are unapologetically on the news, on Fox News, which is also as bad as CNN, if not worse, saying that this is correct, that this is how you solve this, okay? And whether you agree or disagree, I'm telling you the outcome is that you are going to be arrested and you will be imprisoned for decades and decades and decades. And you're a moron if you do this kind of thing. Let's continue. A tweet from Secretary Hegseth. Due to increased threats to federal law enforcement officers and federal buildings, approximately 700 active city U.S. Marines from Camp Pendleton are being deployed to L.A. to restore order. We have an obligation to defend federal law enforcement officers, even if Gavin Newsom will not. I'm telling you, it's a new reality. It's Karl Rove all over again. There is no gubernatorial respect. No one cares. No one cares. Okay, this is just the reality of it. This is the reality. They don't care about gubernatorial authority. They don't care about local authority because they have all the power and they're using it effectively. Let's continue. This is a great thing here. Let's see what Trump said on Truth Social. If they spit, we will hit. This is a statement from the President of the United States concerning the catastrophic Gavin Newsom-inspired riots going on in Los Angeles. The insurrectionists have a tendency to spit in the face of the National Guardsmen and women and others. These patriots are told to accept this. It's just the way life runs. But not in the Trump admin. If they spit, we will hit. And I promise you, they will be hit harder than they have ever been hit before. Such disrespect will not be tolerated. This guy is going to win midterms. I'm telling you. This is a genius statement. The Democrats look more impotent than they ever have. They look like morons. The president has just told them that they are not enforcing the law, that they inspire riots. They inspire riots. That is the narrative that has been crafted for at least half the country. And that half is going to win. And the other people, the normie suburban mom is going to see the footage of LA and it's going to see tweets like this. And they're going to automatically go on this side because it just makes so much more sense. This was great here. This is President Trump once again attacking a governor. I think that people, maybe you don't understand. I haven't seen attacks on a governor like this probably since LBJ, right? When LBJ attacked governor, the governor in Mississippi. You know what I'm talking about. The governor who did not want to desegregate schools. Since then, there has not been as much of an attack on governors. Governors and presidents are both executives. So let's see here what President Trump had to say about a sitting governor of the 5th largest economy in the world, which is California.
And what crime has he committed that would warrant his arrest? What crime has Governor Newsom committed?
A crime has he committed?
Yeah, to warrant his arrest, as you had
I think his
earlier.
primary crime is running for governor because he's done such a bad job. What he's done to that state is like what Biden did to this country. And that's pretty bad. It's the wrong philosophy. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrants, many of them prisoners. They're taking up your health care. They're taking up your space in schools. They're taking up your hospital. And in many cases, they're criminals. And we have to do something about it. And we're doing something about it.
And what crime has he committed?
As I was saying, this fella is a genius. He's a genius. All the blame. And to understand this, what we're going to get into, the history of riots. Riots only come about. Listen, dude, I'm not BSing you. I'm not Alex Jones here. I'm just telling you the truth. Riots only come about at specific moments. Well, not only, but usually only come about at specific moments that affect specific things. And what Trump has done here is, for the first time, I've seen someone spin a riot in the other direction. If this had happened in 2017, he would have been completely blamed for it. But that's not what happened here, because Trump is a genius this term. He is completely putting this on the governor of California, who was probably the only Democrat who had a chance of running and winning. If you're going to say Pete Buttigieg, when this country did not even pass the legalization of homosexual marriage, it was done by the Supreme Court. If you're telling me that Pete Buttigieg was going to win the presidency in 2028, I have not even a bridge to sell you. I have a continent to sell you, because you're a moron. If you're telling me that Kamala Harris is going to run again and she's going to win, this country has rejected 2 women at the ballot box at this point. 2 women. You're a moron if you believe that. The only guy who had a chance that's not declared. The only guy who had a chance to win the presidency was Gavin Newsom. Maybe Josh Shapiro, but if you watch his interviews, I think he's a little too sociopathic in the way he talks. Gavin Newsom is not, although he's a sociopath, he's not that sociopathic in the way he talks. Let's continue. This was very important. As we covered in one of our previous streams, listen up. I was trying to figure it out live with you fellas. We got some good chats in there about it. We couldn't figure it out, though. Elon Musk accused President Trump of being attracted to minors, of working with Jeffrey Epstein. But now he's back. Started following Stephen Miller again. a guy whose wife he stole, a loyal Trump person. That's significant. Maybe you don't think it's significant. It is significant. Let's continue. Stephen Miller's tweet. Believe it or not, California used to be a paradise. Mass migration has brought us to where we are now. This is perfect narrative. Perfect narrative. It's so smart. It's so well done. Just crafting the narrative. Genius. 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 Even if you don't like these guys, you gotta give props. You gotta give props to these guys, even if they're the bad guy to you, right? Even if they're the bad guy.
So say good night to the bad guy. Go on. The last time you're going to see a bad guy like this again, let me tell you.
Let's continue. Homeland Security from the official DHS account. Homeland Security. People, I hate this. Look. One of the ways to stop getting frustrated with the way things are is to accept that most people are stupid. I have this year, in the first half, encountered several people, and over the past few years a lot, who don't know what the sales tax is in the city where they live. People who go into a grocery store and I guess they just accept the price that's quoted at the end. Okay? That is your average person in this country. It's the average. So, what I'm saying is, DHS is a new department. People don't remember this. It was established after the Twin Towers. DHS is new. DHS is bad. In my opinion, I don't like DHS. I don't like a lot of these federal agencies. I don't like the NSA. I don't like Guantanamo. All those conversations that were happening under Obama about ending any of this stuff are out the window. Because now DHS is cool. Because DHS is tweeting from their Twitter account, order will be restored, and putting pictures of rioters waving a Mexican flag on top of a Waymo. What do you think is the message here? The message is that they won. Is that they completely won these riots, as the title of the stream says. This riot is completely over for Democrats. There's no way of spinning this. Dude, you have this picture here. How does and a lot of people, a lot of Dems, the white Americans are going to be a minority. It's still going to be a while for that. How does this not radicalize your average normie white, your average normie black American too? This is a foreign flag. Your average normie assimilated Latino. It radicalizes anyone. And the DHS account is doing that. DHS is here to stay. The reality is that a lot of this stuff won. DHS won, ICE won. These things are going to stay here for the next 200 years. If this country lasts that long. Pete Hegseth posting one of Donald Trump's truths. A once great American city, LA, has been invaded and occupied by illegal aliens and criminals. Now violent insurrectionist mobs are swarming and attacking our federal agents to try and stop our deportation operations. But these lawless riots only strengthen our resolve. I am directing Secretary of Homeland Security, DHS, Kristi Noem, Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, and Attorney General Pam Bondi, in coordination with all other relevant departments and agencies, to take all such action necessary to liberate Los Angeles from the migrant invasion and put an end to these migrant riots. Order will be restored, the illegals will be expelled, and Los Angeles will be set free. Thank you for your attention to this matter. In reality, sure, order will be restored. The deportations, that's not going to be legit in the way that Trump meant it. But what's important here, what you have to pay attention to here, what is so important, is that now you can't tell Trump there's not an invasion. When you have people holding foreign flags standing on top of a burning American city, even if it belonged to Mexico 100 years ago and that war was not fair, he won. Try telling any Trump-curious voter that we're not being invaded in this country. Good luck. Stephen Miller. Quote tweeting. ICE forced to barricade themselves inside the federal building in Los Angeles until LAPD could intervene and rescue them from the brave crowd standing up to the regime. If you're posting this at yourannoncentral.bsky.social, you're a fucking moron. You're a fucking idiot. You're an idiot. You're man, it's like the Dems lost 30 IQ points since the last election. You think that this looks good? You think that this is smart? This is the dumbest thing I've seen. It's like if someone is giving the Democrats bad advice on purpose. And it's just an account on Twitter. This is what people are saying. On the Dem side, this is what's going viral. This is what determines the way that the margins vote. And this is what gives Trump 2028. This was the Libertarian candidate for president. He's saying that about Chase Oliver, who quote tweeted this because Libertarians are fucking morons. As I've always said, Libertarians are 1 point removed from communists. They are just, and I respect communists more than Libertarians. Communists at least have principles. Libertarians are just idiots. They're just stupid. This is, third party's gone. That's it. Libertarians, if you had any momentum left after that embarrassing stuff you did during the BLM riots, sorry, it's over. Stephen Miller just ended the Libertarian Party. Actually, that's really good. I'm really happy about that. We will never have to hear about Austrian economics again because Stephen Miller just destroyed the Libertarian Party. Thank you, Jesus. The Libertarian Party, and libertarianism in general, but the Libertarian Party in particular, is just so stupid. If you listen to what these people say, you need a brain scan. As I always say, the Libertarians need brain scans. And let's see finally here. I want to go through Gavin Newsom's Twitter. Let's see what my hopeful. I thought that he was gonna be able to do something. But doesn't seem like that's happening. He's been tweeting a lot. So let's just go here for interesting stuff, right?
Joke. Do you have any confidence that Pete Hegseth will be as principled as Mark Esper was?
Pete Hegseth's a joke. He's a joke. Everybody knows it. So in over his head. What an embarrassment. That's just guy's weakness masquerading as strength. I don't even know he masquerades as strength. I mean, it's a serious moment. I mean, this Human guy, these guys, it's the band of misfits.
Yeah.
It really is. This is serious. The people's lives are at stake. The reputation of this country is at stake. Great American cities and states. It's not just, this is a preview for things to come. This isn't about LA per se. It's about us today. It's about you, everyone watching tomorrow. I promise you. I mean, this guy's unhinged. Donald Trump is unhinged right now. And this is just another proof point of that.
Do you have any...
Pete Hegseth's a joke. He just took over your city, Gavin Newsom, at the order of the president. You're an idiot. You're a moron. You're antagonizing the guy who's now in charge of the federal response to the riots in your city. This is exactly what Donald Trump wanted. He flamed the fires and illegally acted to federalize the National Guard. The order he didn't sign, this is like a lawyer. This is like the worst lawyer in the world talking to you. This is the dumbest person in the world talking to you. Gavin Newsom, you were so smart. You were so smart. You had great pictures. You had the looks. You had the charm. You had the sociopathy. You had everything to win the presidency. Now you look like an idiot. Now you are unelectable. That's it. We're suing him. I'm telling these people, there's nothing you can do about the Democrats. And I'm telling you, if you're a loyal Democrat at this point, you have to leave the country because you're not going to survive this country anymore. If you're a loyal Democrat, your brain will become mush because these people don't care about you. I think they're doing this on purpose, honestly. I think the Democrats, they want Trump to continue in power. That's the only way that this makes sense. You have any other theories, let me know. Audio Vibes would vote for him. I would have voted for this sociopath too. We have Hillary Clinton chiming in. California Governor Newsom didn't request the National Guard he deployed to his state following peaceful demonstrations. Trump sent them away. It's the first time in 60 years a president has made this choice. Trump's goal isn't to keep California safe. His goal is to cause chaos because chaos is good for Trump. Yeah. And he's doing it very effectively. and you still lost an election to him, and you're an idiot. And that's what happened. And he's going to win 2028 because who does this message appeal to? Literally no one, because people see Waymo's on fire. What are they going to do? They're going to vote for Trump. They're going to vote for Trump and his people in 2028. Perma MAGA victory. A MAGA should be very happy with themselves. You know, let's give one of these, even if you're not MAGA, let's give one of these to MAGA. Very well done, MAGA. Very well played. You can't become angry in politics, really, at the other side. You always got to respect them. I'm not even saying that I'm on the Dem side. I'm really not on either side here. But you got to respect them, man. Like, this is genius. Like, the MAGA has... I don't know who's their PR guy. I don't know who's the guy in charge here. MAGA's genius. MAGA, they won forever. Let's see here. This is how Trump treats his troops. Disgraceful. The troops, whose makeshift quarters are shown in photographs exclusively obtained by the Chronicle, arrived without federal funding for food, water, fuel, equipment, or lodging, said the source, who was granted confidentiality under Chronicle's policies. This person said state officials and the California National Guard were not to blame. That's not finished. Let's just look at this headline here. Wildly unprepared National Guard troops seen sleeping on floors in exclusive photos. Damn, dude. That reminds me of J6, when they were sleeping on the floor in Congress. What is the point of this tweet? Impotent, impotent, impotent. Take some Viagra, Newsom. This is just impotent, impotent, impotent. Again, more pictures of them. They're in the military, dude. Anyone who sees this is going to go, that's the military. What do you expect? 5-star hotel? He retweets himself having sued Donald Trump for unlawfully calling the National Guard. Perfect. This country, the United States, is just such a... In any other time, if this was Louisiana in the 30s, do you think that Huey Long would have gone, well, I'm going to sue President Trump? No, he would have done something. But he's not doing that because Gavin Newsom has proven to be a moron. Talking about the Alabama homicide rate, quote tweeting J6, it's like if a wine mom Democrat got on Twitter and took over Gavin Newsom's account. What a freaking joke, man. What a joke. Let's see what he has pinned here.
Come and arrest him. Should he do it? I would do it if I was Tom. I think it's great. Gavin likes the publicity, but I think it's a great thing.
He's done a terrible job. Look, I like Gavin Newsom. He's a nice guy, but he's grossly incompetent. Everybody knows. All you have to do is look at the little railroad he's building. It's about 100 times over budget. We're putting a flagpole over there. Under budget. I always do under budget.
What does your intel tell you about these people causing all the problems in LA? Are they people ICE is trying to deport, or are they professional agitators?
The people that are causing the problem are professional agitators. They're insurrectionists. They're bad people. They should be in jail. Thank you.
Genius. All Gavin Newsom can say is, the POTUS just called for arresting of a sitting governor. This is a day I hoped I would never see in America. But it's here! But it's here, and you're stupid because you're just responding on Twitter. You're not doing anything. You're suing and responding on Twitter like a drunk wine mom who's pissed off that her husband voted for Trump. You're just an idiot. You're just an idiot. Gavin Newsom cannot run for president. The Gavin Newsom brand is over. Gavin Newsom is over. He's done. Done, done, done. Get him out of here. Get him out of here.
I buried those cockroaches.
Get that cockroach out of here. Gavin Newsom is not possible as president. It's over. It's over. He's a cockroach. He's a rat.
Good morning, rat.
He's a rat. So, with that, let's get into the history, which is what I really wanted to get into today. So, as I was saying, riots come about at very convenient times for political narratives. Again, let's play this Rumsfeld quote one more time so we understand what I'm saying.
We're an empire now, and when we act, we create our own reality. And while you're studying that reality, judiciously as you will, we'll act again, creating other new realities, which you can study too, and that's how things will sort out. We're history's actors, and you, all of you, will be left to just study what we do. Karl Rove.
Karl Rove, genius, genius. Karl Rove, Karl Marx. impactful quotes, they go head to head. So, as I'm saying, I'm not Alex Jones here. I'm just a guy who knows a lot of stuff because I'm a genius, and because you're not a genius, you will accept this. And if you're a genius, you will just agree, because genius recognizes genius, right? So, riots come about at very specific times. Very specific times. My tinfoil hat theory. Watch the documentary 537 Votes. Watch that documentary. All right. No. Let's start earlier. When did the first, well, not the first, the second, the first was the Watts riots. So I don't know if that counts as LA. The second LA riots happened, the ones in 92. Oh, they happened in 92. If you haven't seen this documentary yet, I highly recommend it. It's one of the best documentaries I've ever seen in my life. It's made by National Geographic. This covers the riots very well. Let's watch some scenes of the LA riots.
This is a super swap meet location. Someone, actually a group of over 100 people, went into this location and looted it. And every time they go in and loot, after they're done looting, they set fire to the structure.
Tired of what's going on in the black community. They shot Latasha Harding. They took out my boy Rodney King, beat him on the street. What you need more than videotape. We're going to take out everyone that's going to take us out first.
We're hearing for the first time tonight from Daryl Gates, who is holding a news conference. Let's go to him live.
Once again, I think most of it's concentrated in South Central Los Angeles area, but problem is you find many locations where there are no officers, and that needs to be corrected, and we're trying to do that as quick as we can.
His reported structure fire for Light 464. We're taking some pretty heavy flak on Adams about Hobart. There's three separate structure fires through the window. Like the floor. There's some PD in that area and some fire companies assigned. We have a fireman shot. We need help immediately. Roger, OCD, we can't beat us out in front of the gurney.
They're dispatching LAPD units along with all fire trucks that respond to major emergency blazes for protection. But with respect to trying to get LAPD service or anything else, folks, you're on your own down there.
There are fires burning, there are people being beaten, there is looting. It is a dangerous night in the city of Los Angeles.
So for all the youngins, this was back in 1992. First part of the year, early part of the year. Why does this matter? Because what was happening in 1992? There was an election in 1992. And we had Bill Clinton running against George Bush, the father. George Bush, the father, very underrated president. George Bush, the father, a guy who was very judicious on foreign policy, very smart, a very smart guy. And this is to be expected because he was former CIA, right? He was a very smart, underrated president who did a lot of good things. You know, controversially, I think that the Rwandan genocide wouldn't have happened if George Bush had been president. But regardless, this had been 12 years of Republican rule. And supposedly, we had a riot in 1992 because of a verdict in the case of Rodney King. Now, that may play a part, but the reality is that this riot, we can never prove these things in the sense of how the Anglo conceptualizes a proof. But these are vibes, instincts, feelings, things that help you survive. This riot, in reality, served a political purpose, which was to get George Bush out of the White House. Whatever the reason was, someone wanted him out of the White House. These riots were very damaging, okay? Now, as I said, they're very convenient. And this was in LA. That's why I think it's so important to watch here. Let's go here to when George Bush actually responded, which was actually pretty late. It was handled very poorly.
Tonight, I want to talk to you about violence in our cities and justice for our citizens. What we saw last night and the night before in Los Angeles is not about civil rights. It's not a message of protest. It's been the brutality of a mob, pure and simple. And let me assure you, I will use whatever force is necessary to restore order. Within 1 hour of the verdict, I directed the Justice Department to move into high gear on its own independent criminal investigation into the case. You must understand that our system of justice provides for the peaceful, orderly means of addressing this frustration. We must respect the process of law, whether or not we agree with the outcome. In a civilized society, there can be no excuse for the murder, arson, theft, and vandalism that have terrorized the law-abiding citizens of Los Angeles. None of this is what we wish to think of as American. It's as if we were looking in a mirror that distorted our better selves and turned us ugly. We cannot let that happen. We cannot do that to ourselves. If we are to remain the most vibrant and hopeful nation on earth, we must allow our diversity to bring us together, not drive us apart. The violence will end. Justice will be served. Hope will return. Thank you, and may God bless the United States of America.
So what did Bush do wrong here? What Bush did wrong is he did not control the narrative. And that is what Donald Trump has done here. And that's why he's going to win. This is why Bush lost. He's assessing this case on their terms. The 92 riots were about Rodney King, supposedly, right? They're about that. These riots supposedly are about ICE. George Bush said that he was going to address the Rodney King thing. But as I've explained, these riots had nothing to do with that. They had to do with an election, same as they have to do now. And what George Bush did is that he played into the common narrative, the narrative that was built around the riots. And that's what Trump did not do. And that's why Trump will win. And that's why George Bush lost. Because Bill Clinton, following this, gave a great statement on them. Because he got to play in the narrative. Because the narrative was crafted for him to ascend. Now you see what I mean by riots determining elections. Let's look at another example, the one I was mentioning earlier. So, for the youngins that don't know, in 1999 there was an election. This election was controversial in the outcome because George Bush's son ran against Al Gore, who was Bill Clinton's successor. Why did Al Gore lose this election? He lost this election quite simply because of the problems around the Elian Gonzalez case. If you don't know what this was, young boy came from Cuba and his family in Cuba wanted him to go back to Cuba because his mother had passed on the way and the family here wanted him here. Now, normally in an election year, you have an unpopular country like Cuba. You have people petitioning for custody rights, right? You're the president and your vice president's running for office. What would you do? What you would do is stall. What you would do is neglect Cuba's demands. You would put them aside. You would not care because it's more important for your guy to win than for any form of justice to prevail. It's just politics. You can get mad about it, but that's just the truth. So, what actually happened? Well, Janet Reno made it a whole thing, the Attorney General. And she sent ICE to arrest Elian Gonzalez. That's where the famous picture comes from. And this tanked Al Gore's possibility to win the presidency because he had to break away from his party, putting on a dehumanizing display, a kidnapping, publicly. And what happened is that the very important state of Florida went the other way. Doesn't matter if it went to the Supreme Court. What happened is that you created so much discord in the state that was most important for this election that Al Gore lost. Now, was Bill Clinton working with George Bush? That's for speculation. That's my theory. I don't know why. I don't know what the motivations were, but that's just my theory. Let's look at the riots that happened around Elian Gonzalez. So these riots were very tame, as you can see. In Miami, though, it was a different story. Let's see here a retrospective.
Happening today, it is the 20th anniversary of the end of the Elian Gonzalez saga. The custody and immigration controversy over the young boy was a hot topic in South Florida, especially among the Cuban-American exile community. Former Miami Mayor Manny Diaz, who was an attorney for Gonzalez's family at the time, talked to CBS 4 about the moment the feds showed up to take the boy.
There was tear gas all over the place inside the house. They knocked down, there was a group of women who got together in front of the house every night to pray. And they would form a circle and hold hands and pray. They knocked them over and stormed the house. So it was very frightening.
Gonzalez was returned to Cuba, where he would appear with Fidel and Raul Castro over the years. And you might remember Gonzalez was plucked out of the water on Thanksgiving Day 1999 after his mother died during their voyage from Cuba. For months, a custody battle over the boy ensued, with his extended family here in Miami fighting to keep him in the U.S. But the U.S. government decided they had no right to petition for Elian's asylum. He was then taken at gunpoint in a pre-dawn raid on April 22, 2000, and later returned to his father in Cuba.
So this cost Al Gore the election, because Al Gore lost a lot of credibility when he broke with the administration on this. Imagine having images like this on
to
your
take
TV.
The boy.
Feds coming in.
Tear gas.
The moment the feds showed up to take the boy.
Feds coming in and kidnapping a kid. Doesn't matter how you feel about it, this is what it looks like. They're putting him in a white van and taking him away from his family. What does that mean? It means it's very bad. It's a very bad look. And what did this result in? This was a butterfly effect, where there was so much controversy down here about it. Al Gore lost supporters. Miami could have gone blue. We had a blue mayor at the time. But this controversy directly led to the Brooks Brothers riots. If you don't remember this, it happened in Miami when they were counting votes.
At this time, the board has decided to...
The canvassing board was trying to beat the clock set by Florida's Supreme Court when it voted to send its hand counters home this morning. Counters who'd come in to finish what they started 2 days ago.
And just looking at the sheer numbers and time, that we weren't going to be able to do the complete hand counts.
But then board members did decide to count only the 10,000 votes missed by machines, not all 650,000 ballots cast. Republican protesters chased after them, demanding to see the process.
Let us in! Let us in! Let us in! You got it. Let us in! Let us in! Let us in! Arrest him! Arrest him!
Republicans even accused a Democrat of stealing a ballot.
Arrest him!
He put it in his pocket and I started yelling, "This guy's got a ballot! This guy's got a ballot!"
Police escorted Joe Geller from the building for his own protection over what turned out to be a training ballot.
It was pretty scary. People were yelling, screaming, and actually physically pushing and jumping right into me.
Stop the fraud! Stop the count! Stop the fraud! Stop the count!
I vote no. I believe we should stop at this time.
Republicans cheered the decision to stop the hand counting they'd been fighting for weeks. And instead of overseeing a weekend of ballot counting, election board members found themselves leaving for the holiday under heavy police protection.
So, and we're getting to our conclusion here. Let's just put some images of the riots on the side for you guys. What I'm saying is that riots affect elections. Riots are not random. Riots exist for a reason. People don't just riot. It happens. They're organized. The peons that do the riots are different. But the riots are there's always an ulterior motive for these. In the case of Trump, in his genius, he has made these riots a Democrat issue. Unlike George Bush in the 92 riots, he has not played into the narrative. He has made this his narrative. This is an invasion. And these riots are a sign of that invasion. And that's why he's going to win the midterms in 2028. Because he's playing a game, his own game, when they're trying to force him to play another game. You can be pissed at him. Who you should be pissed about is Democrats, because they are idiots and they're not going to get you anywhere. Stop being a loyal Democrat. Stop being a loyal Republican. If you want power, think about it. Think about how to get power. Think about it. I've had to think about it for a long time. And when you reach the right conclusions, you can act. But until then, you're just going to be another moron throwing rocks at feds. With that, please like, comment, subscribe, everyone. I appreciate everyone that tuned in. Hope this was a good stream. Hope you got some alpha out of this stream. Like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate everyone. 600 subs. Pretty cool. I'm happy that you guys find value in this. And we will be streaming again tomorrow. So please like, comment, subscribe. And we may be doing a reaction video to Zoran's stuff, his campaign in New York, because a commenter wants to see that, and I think it would be an interesting video. So with that, like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate all you guys watching. Everyone have a great day.